Well, it is a thrill to be able to say that we have the fabulous Katrina Shellman of Ausome Hand Up Inc. here with us today at the Michael L. Johnson Jr. Foundation. Welcome, Katrina.
Thank you so much. And it's a pleasure to be with you both. And you guys are wonderful. We just thank you so much for reaching out to us during this awesome holiday season. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you are so welcome. And Katrina's daughter, Asiah, is a 2021 recipient of a Sunshine's Christmas Award, where we go and choose a family that has a little superhero that is affected by autism or pediatric seizures, and just really kind of lean into that child to say, hey, we see you, we see you. It's oftentimes that we celebrate children that are considered normal, that get all the praise. And sometimes our special people are left behind. And it doesn't mean that they're special in the sense of less than, it just means that they're special in a way that we have to provide more for. And so they get left behind by others. So it is our duty from our foundation to stand up and say, hey, we see you and we want to celebrate you and we want to appreciate you. And also in that form, it's celebrating the parents to say, hey, let's take that off of you for this holiday. Let us celebrate that child this holiday and give to them as you continue to do everything else that you have to do.
You guys, y'all already know. So yes. Thank you so much. And you're right. We as autism families or parents, caregivers, we are very much just underserved and overlooked. It's almost to the point where it's like, we know that as a parent, you have to take care of your kids, whether they're typical or atypical, but this job is a whole nother ball game. Asia's not my only child. I do have a 23-year-old daughter. So, it's totally different. It's a lot more required with this particular child. I call them my gap kids because it's a big gap between the two, being that Asia is 6 and Alani is 23 now. But, it feels good for somebody to recognize, your labor of love with your child, your special superhero child. So thank you guys so much. It means a lot. It means a lot to us. Like, it really does.
Oh, sweetie, you're so welcome. And we just want to ask you some questions to really bring some more awareness to what parents with children with autism, how we're affected, and kind of just shed light and show, hey, here's our life. Here's a better way of understanding who we are. And if you have a child that could possibly be on the spectrum, what things to kind of look out for, because we all know that really honing in on that and taking care of that early is everything, is everything. So first off, I'm going to ask you, what are some of the things that you noticed in Asiah that prompted you to have her screened?
Okay, so the main thing was speech delay. I did not remember all of the milestones because, like I said, it is a big gap between my children, but I did know that it was taking her longer to say more words. So she initially had like 3 words, probably around maybe 10 months or something it started. And then at some point within like the next year or so, she regressed and lost the words. So that was the main red flag. And then that was pretty much the main thing that I noticed. Other than that, but I didn't think it was autism. I didn't even know what autism was, which is why it's so important to us to spread awareness. I heard of it. I knew it had to do with special needs or disability, but I didn't know what it really was. So in my mind, when her primary care physician gave us a referral, I'm thinking we just getting speech therapy referral, like something to help her talk. That's it. I had no idea that a diagnosis was going to come like that and what autism really was, So the red flag for me was the speech delay.
Right. And I remember just in relations to what you're saying, that was the same heads up for me with JR. Mike always has been our breadwinner. And so I was home based and I was very in tune with our 4 children at the house. And JR was our last one. So, you know, when you've already had 3, you kind of not, you know what's going on. You know what's going on. Even when you have 1, like you just said, you know, you don't, and especially when you get to a multiple child, you know, you get to the point where you're like, okay, we just go through the motions, but then you're like, wait a minute, time is past, your birthday's coming, and wait, hold on, something's not right here.
Oh, yeah.
So I totally agree. And the crazy thing with Michael Jr. was that he was just catching the milestone right at the end of the bracket that they were giving him.
Right.
And I'm like, that's still not good enough for me, because all my children were pretty much ahead of the bracket. Yeah. So I was like, no, something just still isn't sitting right. And even with, we saw he had the speech assessment as well. And I'm like, so really? And what she told us was, oh, he's just the 4th one. So he's waiting and getting in line because he knows it's going to come to him when he gets behind his siblings. So he doesn't have to use his words. And I was like, yeah, but no. Would that have happened to my 2nd? Wouldn't that have happened to my 3rd? You know, now all of a sudden he just, you know, no. So I totally agree with you. And I think that's a beautiful thing that we should share for moms to know. You know, there are things that we can see for milestones for children, and it kind of gauges where we are. And I know when we see our primary care physicians with our children, our pediatricians, that they kind of say, oh, is this happening? And you know, sometimes you think you're on cue, but then sometimes if you're not, you've really got to speak up, right?
It's true. And the thing with her primary care physician, I'm so grateful, because I deal with a lot of other parents on the spectrum, and he was on point. He started saying stuff to me when she was 18 months. He was like, okay, if she doesn't have this amount of words by this time, then I'm going to have to, you know, refer you out by law to a specialist to get her you know, evaluated for speech and other situations. So he was really on point. I'm so grateful, because a lot of kids fall through the cracks.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do indeed.
And Katrina, what age was Asiah diagnosed?
Asiah was 2 years and 3 months when she got diagnosed. I remember the date, June 1st, 2018. Yeah, that was a tough day, a very tough day. But the crazy part about it, if I may share a little quick story, 2 or 3 days before the appointment, you know, I don't know how it was with you guys up there, but it was like waiting lists everywhere that we were trying to go when they started giving us all these referrals to speech, OT, neurology, and all the stuff, right? So once we got in real quick, thank God, because somebody canceled, and I was staying on the professionals like, listen, I know it's a waiting list, but can you call me if it's cancellation? They wound up calling me, so we had an appointment 2 days later. That same day they let me know of the appointment, we was watching Sesame Street, Asiah and I, and we messed around and saw an episode of Meet Julia, which is a puppet or Muppet that they have on Sesame Street that has autism. Ironically, I watched that with Asiah all the time. I never saw that particular character. When I tell y'all, I was watching that episode, and this little character was doing the same things my daughter was doing. It was almost like God gave me a little snippet of what was to come, just to kind of prep me a little bit. And I'm watching this character putting her hands over her ears, jumping and flapping, and, you know, doing all the stuff, twirling around, everything my daughter was doing. And literally, when I got to that appointment for diagnosis, that lady was asking me all the questions, and it was pointing right to that. So that's what prepped me on that day, June 1st, 2018. Now,
wow.
And on since then, but yeah.
Wow, I do remember when Julia was announced that she was coming to Sesame Street, and that is amazing. And you know, we are God-fearing people, and I don't know honestly how you can get through becoming the new normal if you don't have them. I'm sorry, I just have to. You have to believe in something. You have to believe in someone, because you have to have some type of zen that's going to give you some peace, because it's a tough road.
It's a road.
It's not for
it's not.
Yes.
Listen, I don't know how I would have done it without my relationship with Jesus. Like, seriously. So, you know, everybody has their own thing. I understand that. You better have you something, because on this road right here, it's a whole lot of ups, a whole lot of downs, stuff that just kind of blindside you. And you have to have something to kind of keep you stable in the midst of not only autism, but whatever, all this stuff going on right now in the world. So
Indeed. Something to give you some kind of mental stability, because you have to give your all to that little superhero.
That's it.
So you need some sanity and some peace for yourself. You need
it's no days off. It's no days off. I'm telling you, if there are no days, Christmas break is coming. That's fine, but it's no days off.
Correct.
No days off. You know what I mean? So it is a lot to do. It's a lot just to handle, and everybody has to have something that they can hold on to. So yes, I do agree with y'all.
Yes. So let me ask you, how did your family respond to Asia's diagnosis, and how are they responding now? Asia is how old? Share that with us for us.
She's 5 years old. She'll be 6 in March. So she's almost 6, but she's a tall. So she's like the height of like a 7 or 8 year old. So she looks bigger and older, you know, than she really is. But yes, okay. So when she first got diagnosed, it was hard for the whole family unit because we really didn't know much about autism. Like I said, it wasn't just me, but my immediate family, we didn't know. And we kind of kept it somewhat contained to just the immediate family, because we were just trying to process this new situation that was unfamiliar to us, and then trying to learn how to properly deal with Asia with this new diagnosis. So my mom was very supportive, and she still is. My daughter, she's older, so she pretty much, by that time, even though it was like almost 4 years ago, she was establishing her own, little life and stuff like that. But and as far as everyone else, like her dad and things like that, of course, it was shocking to him once he found out as well. So, but I will say, as far as my immediate family, they were quick to embrace her and just try to learn how to deal with her properly, and kind of like just get in her world. Once we knew what was going on, because we didn't know what was going on before, but we just knew something was different before the diagnosis. We didn't know it was that, but you could tell, it's something different about this particular child. So we just wanted to just come together and just figure out how to make her as comfortable as possible and provide support.
Again, another blessing. Family support is everything. I've during this course of this particular year, with choosing the recipients that we chose for Sunshine's Christmas, I've heard about some of the families that have not been supported at all. And that is scary. And that can really make you feel alone. I remember feeling like, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? Like I have people around me that are in different circumstances that are not the best, and their children are thriving. And it's like, well, how, I feel like I'm a good mom. We're good parents. We do what we're supposed to do. How this happened to me? What did I do wrong?
Right.
So I think it's really a beautiful thing. And again, shedding light to other people that if you have a family member that has a child that is diagnosed with autism, give them some grace, give them some patience. If you see a child in the store that seems like they are acting out, it can typically be more than what you think it is. So again, give that mom some grace, give them some patience, and really practice some understanding, because it's not always the case that that's just a bad butt child.
Right.
Not always.
And then, like you're saying too, if you see somebody in the store with their child who maybe having a hard time, don't just stare. See if there's something you can do. I may need you to just get my cart and push it to the side while I help my child up, or hold a door for me while I try to get my child outside. Just see how you can help. We're a community, even though it's a little different in certain places of the world, where some smaller towns may be more close-knit, bigger cities not so much, but it doesn't matter. Just lend a hand, see what you can do to help. And also with eloping, a lot of kids on the spectrum will try to escape or elope. They you know, will kind of get away from the parents a bit and take off. Hey,
Oh,
if it's no
Oh,
matter,
yeah.
you hold your hands out and just block it, you know, so that my child don't run out into the parking lot and get hit, or you understand.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a lot. You don't have to touch somebody's kid, but you can, you know, do certain things, especially if you see a parent chasing after their child. So there's a lot of awareness that still needs to be done, even though autism is something that is becoming more like of a household name, so to speak, because, you know, you have a lot more commercials. You're seeing it now in certain movies and things like that. But there's still more awareness that needs to be out there, because a lot of people don't know that there are other ways that they can help.
Yeah,
So,
it's true.
yeah.
Yeah. We had a runner. Our son loved to run, and he was fast too. So yeah, that was my job or my oldest son. We had to make sure we watched him because he would take off.
Man, quick.
Yeah, he's
You
quick.
know,
He's fast.
and the thing is, I didn't know, because it's some things you don't know that you don't know.
Right.
I did not know that if you do have a runner, that your primary care physician can fill out a form for you, and you can get a handicap parking pass to help you park closer to the doors of doctor's appointments, or, you know, if you're at the store, things like that, to help to alleviate from your child running far, you know, you're trying to get them to the car, get them from the car inside. That's something I didn't know. And that's something else, stuff like that. Just one little hint that can help, you know, minimize stress for parents that have kids that have runners like you guys had and like we have, you know. So
Yes, I appreciate that tip. That is a fantastic tip. We didn't know that.
No, that's good information. I don't think it was available back then.
Probably not.
So,
Probably not. But that is, it's crucial. Like, if we had our own little system with Mike Jr., so it worked for us. But and mine was just basically, I held his hand everywhere we went. If it was just me and JR, I held his hand everywhere we went. And typically Dad had his hand, you know, whenever he was with him. So JR really didn't too much take off from me, which was, I was so grateful for. I really didn't have that issue. But like he's taken off from his grandmother. It was hilarious. It was on the beach. But we all knew. So we knew we cannot let him get a good head start, because it's going to be hard to get him. So I think that's amazing. That's a great tip that you're sharing right there for parents that have runners, because it can be very hard to catch them. Like it's really hard.
And like I say, if nobody stops the child, then you really gonna have a hard time. Imagine, you know, if they get out of it. And they're fast and they're strong, you know, it's just so much that comes with them. And then also too, people in the community have to be more mindful and just a little kinder too. When you see some parents have their kids with the little harness on, we have the wrist one, you know, because that's a little better, the wrist connectors that, you know, at least she can still kind of walk and move her arms, but it just be closed. It's not about a leash, quote unquote, if it's a safety issue where my child may get into the street and get hit by a car if I, you know, my hand slips off her hand, you know, for a second. So it's just a lot of things. This is the kind of stuff that we like to share even in our little posts and stuff like that, just so that people can understand more. Just be kind, to be a little more, like you say, have a little more grace for people with situations like that we have, you know. So
true. Yeah. Can you please share an adversity that you've had to overcome while being an advocate for your child?
Let's see. I would say for me, it was a bit difficult at one point sharing about her diagnosis with people that were outside of our immediate family. You know, just because you want your child to be understood, and you do want to advocate, even in family situations. You know, Asia's not in school per se. She only goes to therapies, you know, at this point. So I don't have that point of reference like yet. But yeah, I think that was hard for me to figure out, like, who to tell about the diagnosis, when to tell them, how much to tell, you know, and then how much is too much. You know, I do have opinions that are brought to me, and just, some people are like, oh, you shouldn't share so much. And I have other people come like, oh, you should share more, tell more about the morning routine that you have, or post this or that, so I think that was a hurdle for me. And also I was, before the nonprofit that we have came about, which was last year in August, we were pandemic born nonprofit. I was not on social media like that. So another hurdle for me with that was to be as public, like on social media, about her diagnosis, some of the struggles that I have, and things of that nature, as far as just being transparent openly like that. That was another thing, advocating in that way. So, but it's good now. I feel more comfortable. I'm sharing a bit more, little by little. And I find that the more I share, the more people can relate, and it does seem to be helping. So, and it helps me too. It's a bit therapeutic for me as well, to share our experiences and get the feedback.
Yeah, it does help. I think over the years, autism has more of awareness now.
Yeah.
Before, we really didn't know what it was. Like, we didn't know what it was, and we went to several doctors, from all the way up to New Hampshire, Connecticut, all the way down to, from all the way up to Boston, all the way down to Pensacola, Florida, and nobody could figure it out. They didn't know what was going on.
What year was that?
Oh,
like around.
So anywhere from 2004 to 2009.
Yeah.
Oh,
I want to say by the time 2009, 2010 came, we were like, okay, it is what it is. We just make the best of what we have.
Yeah. See, the other thing that our son was faced with was, he had pediatric seizures, which started when he turned 3 years old.
Okay.
And we didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
He didn't tell us what happened. So we're like, what happened? Because technically he seemed like a normal child. What do you want to consider normal? Up to the age of 3. And then after 3, he had the seizures. And then later on, he got diagnosed with autism, on the spectrum. So, but that was probably around that time frame.
And we really do believe that the seizures paired with the autism really kind of began to increase his delays.
Yeah.
So that I think that was the hardest part for us as a family unit. Our family, we were definitely a unit. Everybody had a place in, assisting JR and really helping him through and navigate through his life. And it was nothing short of amazing when I look back on it, how amazing they are, how empathetic my children are to others because of who they were blessed with as a little brother. So pretty amazing. And I just do want to share Katrina's social handle, especially on Instagram, is Ausome, AUSOME, Hand Up Inc. And if you are a new parent of an autistic child, if you are wondering if your child is on the spectrum, she is a great resource to follow. She gives her daily trials, tribulations, and triumphs with Asiah, and it is just amazing to watch. It is absolutely amazing. Simple things that we take for granted. Anywhere from how Asiah plays to Asiah's oral hygiene to whatever it is, it's just life. It's life. And sometimes, back then we didn't have, Instagram wasn't even around then.
I don't think so.
So you didn't have those resources back then, and now you do. So I really would suggest to lean into her nonprofit as well, just to really be well-rounded. It also gives you the sense of, okay, I'm not alone. I'm okay. Oh, she showed me a different way of how I could do something that may be better than what is not working for me currently. So I think that is so true. And I do not think that you overshare, because you are truly a valuable inspiration to those that need it. Sometimes you feel alone.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And just as you said, the main reason why when we first started things, it wasn't a nonprofit. My first venture was a YouTube channel. We have a YouTube channel as well that goes into more in depth as far as the things that I talked about, like when the red flags we saw, the Meet Julia situation, how I felt when she got diagnosed, connecting with other families, like how we're connecting, and just other families that have kids on the spectrum, how that's important and things like that. So the YouTube channel is Autism Journey 2016. That would be another key resource. I post sometime on Instagram and a little on Facebook just to share the page. But those are great posts because they're lengthy and I go into detail. And the main reason for doing that and this is to become a point of reference so that parents, just like you said, will have somebody like, hey, you know what? Okay, she's doing it, they're doing it, so, or they have done it, should I say, so I can do it too. You know, everybody has hard days and stuff like that. Just because we do what we do as far as sharing our situations does not mean that it's easy in no way, shape, or form. We just have come to a certain level of acceptance and a certain level that we want to be transparent so we can help other people with the stuff that we didn't have help with. So that's pretty much why we do what we do. Just to connect with others, share that point of reference, and just people send me messages all the time like, hey, Asiah, the post what I did with the orthopedic shoes and the leg braces because she's a toe walker due to the autism and sensory processing disorder. People was messaging me like, hey, where's this place? I see it in the comments or in the the write-up or whatever you did. And so we have become a little referral type service as well, because a lot of stuff people just don't know. Like when Asiah was walking on her toes, we didn't even know that had nothing to do with autism. She wasn't diagnosed yet,
Yes.
So,
Yes.
To be talking, and he's like, she must be gonna be a little ballerina or something. Like we watching this little small girl just learning how to walk, and she's walking on her toes like 95% of the time. Had no idea that had something to do with autism. So these little things, like I say, just to be a point of reference, to pass along information that took us a while to get access to. It helps.
Absolutely. Yes. And we had a toe walker too.
Yeah. It's like, what do you do? We have no Asiah, I'm telling you, she has done all kind of stuff, from the ankle weights, from occupational therapy. She's on a physical therapy waiting list still now. And it's just so much stuff, different orthopedic shoes, inserts in the shoes. So many different things. But if I would have known this 3-4 years ago, she probably wouldn't be walking on her toes now, so it took time to get to this point. But what if we could minimize that time for a mom that has a 2-year-old that's walking on their toes?
Right.
So it's important.
It is.
That's why we do what we do.
It is. Well, we cannot thank you enough again for, number one, spending your time with us today to help enlighten those that we know to continue to spread the word. And to really allow us to bless Asiah with a Merry Christmas from a Sunshine's Christmas from the Michael L. Johnson Jr. Foundation. It has truly been a joy. It has been an honor to connect with you and really watch your story continue to unfold. We will continue to watch it unfold as you continue to grow with Asiah.
We will. It's always something. And I have like 10,000 pictures and videos in my phone, literally, that I'm always sharing from, whether it's current stuff or old stuff that I recorded before I even was on social media. It's just so much I can put together. So y'all be watching, stay tuned, definitely. So we really appreciate you guys for reaching out to us. And thank you so much for choosing Asiah. I tell everybody, like, she's like a little local celebrity. Like, some people like, oh, this is Asiah, okay, girl, she talk, when they see her, because we do post her a lot. And so we've been a couple places now where we see some people that are connected to us on social media, and she's our little autism poster child, and hey, if a picture's worth 1,000 words, how much is a video worth, to really help people to understand more about this situation, as well as it's a lot of people don't really know. They know people that may be of color that are on the spectrum, but it's not a lot of people of color that have families on the spectrum that share it, you know, because it could be a bit taboo, especially in the African American community, which is another reason why we wanted to share stuff, because I knew of people that had kids that had some type of special need. I didn't know exactly what it was. So when Asiah got diagnosed, I didn't have anybody that I could have called like, oh, her son, you know, is on the spectrum, or her daughter is. No, I just knew something was going on, because they didn't tell me the situation with their child. I could not come to them like, hey, this is going on with my child. Can you help me? You know, so I'm happy that people feel comfortable enough to approach me about it, because if they know somebody that has a child on the spectrum, or their child is on the spectrum, feel free to message me and ask me a question, because I may be able to help. You know, it's important, especially, you know, for us to have some point of reference in our community as well.
Yes. So I just want to encourage you to keep on being the shero that you are.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. And again, we thank you so much for this time. I will have Katrina's information in our links below. So please stay tuned. Please follow her. And let's just continue to elevate Asiah to be the awesome little superhero that she is. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much. Nice to meet you again. And we appreciate you guys. Y'all have a happy holiday.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Thank you.